Well, it looks like SB3 has passed the Appropriations Committee as expected along party lines 7-4. If you hear my son, he's playing in the other room, so it is what it is. So what's next exactly? The next thing is it's going to go to the House as a whole. So SB3, no, it isn't over. It's true. It's not over. Hugo Stiglitz. I love it. I love that name. But anyway, so SB3 passed the Appropriations Committee. So it goes to the full House for the next reading, for the second reading. Okay. After that, it goes to the House again, full House for the third reading. So our 50-meter target is you have to contact your representatives, the Democrats, that is. The Republicans got it. They are not voting for this thing. The Democrats is who you have to persuade somehow, some way. I don't know how, because it does seem every vote has been along party lines. Every single vote has been along party lines. To include the amendments, and this is for the most part, obviously. There's some outliers out there. Yep, cool. Hey, Mateo. It's hard to keep up with all this new. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yeah, it is hard to keep up with all the news with this SB3 BS. Some channels, I don't have a lot of time or bandwidth to keep up on things. It's really getting to me with family and work and all that stuff. So I just traveled to Tampa for work and then came back, and then there's a bunch of stuff going on, and then obviously family, right? Now a channel that I suggest, two channels I suggest, is the Ava Flanell Show, and I also suggest Big Timber Lodge. I suggest those two channels. At a minimum, those two channels. They are covering almost all of it. Of course, there's some other bills out there that I'm not really all that privy to. I haven't been able to research on them and read them and do all that stuff. So SB3 has been my thing, right? Because if to me, and in my point of view, SB3 is it's so blatantly unconstitutional. Like it's just wild that it's even an option for these people. It's it is just so wild. It's not even just going to buy a card, for example. Now people call it the FOID card. It's not a FOID card. Let's just put that out there. I'm going to disagree with a couple of my Republican Second Amendment advocates, and it's not a FOID card. It is far beyond a FOID card. This is a permit for safety training. That's what it is. It's a permit for safety training. So they want you to get a permit before you can even get the safety training before you can even buy the firearm, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's ass backwards, right? Um, if anything, which obviously none of this should be anything, but if anything, it should be get the safety training, then get your card, and then buy your firearm. Again, I'm not supporting that, but that would be more logical, right? I'm not supporting that at all. I just want to put that out there. I'm just saying if there's a logical order to this shit, it would be that order. Get the fucking training first and then go about your way, right? But uh honestly, the entire fucking thing is unconstitutional. And it's going to be super expensive. Super expensive. Let me look at what's going on here. If I mispronounce your names, like, just forgive me on that one. West Virginia Education here. Live streaming this morning. Yeah. Oh yeah. Matt though. Um, Thank you for that. I deleted that one. I had things on my mind that obviously I couldn't tell if my audio was coming through. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Um, yep, family. Yeah, it affects everybody who lives in Colorado, and it's affecting hunters and everything. Yep, that's 100% true. So it's going to affect not only Coloradans, but it's going to affect unwittingly. By the way, that obviously there's 330 million people in the United States. There are a lot of people that come to Colorado to hunt that honestly they don't give a shit about Colorado politics, and they don't know that their money is going to go to restricting gun rights for law-abiding citizens. They don't know that. Um, I don't know if it would matter to any of our representatives. That's quote unquote for anybody who's just listening to this and not watching. Um, they don't know that Colorado is trying to use their money to restrict gun rights for law-abiding citizens. Um, yeah, I get it, but Matt, though, like they may know, some of them may know, but there's no way that all the hunters know. And in fact, I don't know if they're going to reach out to our representatives to say, "Hey, what the hell? Why are you going to use my money for this?" And I almost guarantee they're not willing to not buy a license. Like if we could get every hunter and fisher to absolutely, what's it called? I forget what it's called. If we could get them not to buy a license in the state of Colorado, that would put damage. That would put damage on their this scheme they have. They would put significant damage on it. They would almost have to retract this shit. Boycott. Thank you. If we could get hunters and fishers to boycott Colorado, out of state hunters and fishers and in state hunters and fishers, if we could get them to boycott Colorado, do you imagine? Could you imagine the amount of money that Colorado would be losing? Dude, it's ridiculous. I looked up the numbers. I can't remember the exact numbers, but man, Colorado makes a lot of money from out of state and in state hunters and fishers. A shit ton. I have 8 for including this message. Yep, I have been contacting the Ted Nugent. Yeah, yeah. Ted Nugent obviously has a big following, so. Um. Ay, chiquito, ¿qué pasó? Oh, his knee growing pains. Yeah. Sorry, my little boy is he's getting growing pains. But oh man, Chiquito. Anyway, so I don't know what's next, man. I mean, I know it's going to go to the House as a whole for the second and third reading, and then after that, I think it goes back to the Senate because there were some amendments. Speaking of amendments, there are a ton of amendments. A ton of amendments. If you go to leg.colorado.gov and you look at the amendments that are there, like there's just a shit ton. And what's really screwed up here is that the Dems, almost none of them are voting for the amendments that Republicans are putting forth. And the same thing is true for the other side, right? So for example, does this affect concealed carry at all? This is just beginning, unfortunately. No, it doesn't affect concealed carry, Taylor. But but imagine if you want to carry something like this behind me, or have that, or go to the range or whatever, and you want to consider carry in a concealed fashion in Colorado. Imagine how much money that's going to cost for the concealed carry course, and then also for the 12-hour training and or the 4-hour training. It's pretty ridiculous. So it doesn't affect the concealed carry per se, but the concealed carry doesn't uh, it's not recognized when it comes to the 12-hour course that they're putting forth. So I mean, me personally, because there's nothing in the bill that says that it doesn't. Me personally, as an instructor, if they say that verified instructors is going to teach the 12-hour course and the 4-hour course respectively, then the 8-hour course will be that. So I'll have a package deal. Basically, I'll have a concealed carry slash semi-automatic, specified semi-automatic course, right, which is 12 hours, but 8 hours of that would be the concealed carry course, and then the rest of that 4 hours would be for specified semi-automatics. But if you look at the amendments, go back to the amendments here. If you look at the amendments, like it's been a 7-4 vote or 4-7 vote, depending on who is putting these amendments forward. So if it's a Democrat amendment, it's 7-4. If it's a Republican amendment, it's 4-7 in just the Appropriations Committee. And it was like that the whole time. The Dems are not. They don't give a shit because they know they have the power, and this is really fucked up because they're not voting with their oath. They're voting with the belief of the Democrat. That's what they're voting for. And obviously we need a recall, and we need to vote them out in 2026. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to do with that. Where obviously I'm not in Denver County. If I was in Denver County, I would 100% try to do whatever I could for a recall. But we need to get people in those counties to actually give a shit when it comes to their rights. Unfortunately, I think people in those blue counties, they don't actually give a shit about their rights, or they don't understand their rights completely in their entirety. Now, that's not all of them. I'm speaking in generalities here, but the blue-haired dude that identifies as a female, for example, that dude doesn't give a shit about anything but identifying as a female. If that makes sense, right? They don't give a shit about their other rights that they have, right? And it's not a ding on them, right? I have my beliefs, obviously, right? But they still have the Second Amendment. They're American citizens, regardless of whether they, want to identify this or wear blue hair or whatever they do. Like, if you're American, you have a Second Amendment right. But the thing about it is they're just throwing it away, like, oh, whatever. And it's kind of ridiculous in that sense. Let's see. Let's look at the comments real quick because I'm running out of things to say, and my son is, crying. I probably need to go help. Here we go. Let's see. Boycott. I've been contacting the news. Okay. I spoke to some friends in Oregon today who are avid hunters and were shocked at what I was telling them about CPW's new responsibility. Yes, Kelly. Thank you so much, Kelly. Oh, by the way, I hope I get to see you on the range again. It was super fun to have you. So it'd be nice to see you on the range again. But yeah. So CPW, a wildlife and resource management agency, is now going to figure out how to do this scheme basically when it comes to firearms. It's pretty ridiculous. And man, I hope I hope that it gets challenged, and I hope that the judges here in the state, which you know that's a very big hope. I hope the judges in the state that it goes towards are going to rule this unconstitutional, um, for the state. And if not that, then I hope that at least hopefully it goes up to the district judges, and hopefully they do that. But then if it goes to the Supreme Court, they have to accept or certiorari, right? So I'm learning all these new terms and stuff when it comes to legalese, but if it goes to the Supreme Court, it doesn't necessarily mean the Supreme Court's going to take the case. They may take the case or they may not, right? So this is why we need to get it squashed here now today somehow. I don't know how, but somehow it's got to be squashed in this state because we can't chance it. We can't chance it going to the Supreme Court and then they deny certiorari, right? They deny cert. That's the thing about it, right? So we can't take that chance. All right, here we go. 3A. I have already been spreading the boycott hunting fishing nationality. Nice. Awesome. I don't know how many people, I mean, you got to imagine if we're going to boycott, if hunters and fishers nationwide are going to boycott Colorado for this, man, you're talking about maybe years of planning for a hunt. It could be with your son or your daughter or maybe your grandfather or whatever, and you're going to boycott your trip that you've been planning for 2-3 years. It's going to be a tough sell. It's going to be a tough sell, especially for elk, right? Not a lot of people get to hunt elk, right? And Colorado is one of those states where it's pretty easy to get a tag out of state to hunt elk. It's gonna be a hard sell, but I do hope some hunters and fishers boycott Colorado for this, and I hope they actually contact our representatives or at least our governor, right, and say, look, if you pass this damn bill, you can count hunters and fishers go bye bye, right? That would be awesome, and hopefully that would take the governor, you know, uh, make the Governor Polis to make him think twice about doing this. That's another thing. If he's looking for a presidential bid, like if he votes on this, I don't see how he could get. Of course, I mean, look at Biden. Biden was damn near senile, and he got voted in. Apparently, supposedly, right? But anyway, here we go. Does this affect, okay, this whole thing, a small part of the insurgency directed toward the American people. Colorado is just one state. Yep. Okay. I agree with that. I 100% agree with your statement, Hugo. So there's no doubt that other countries look at America and go, they put their nose up at America. Because we're not, most of Americans don't want to be part of a global government. And this is me. This is me talking just with experience and understanding how these entities work. And in the I mean, we were at war for 20 years in Afghanistan, and in that war we had a bunch of NATO partners. We had at least 30 different countries in Afghanistan at the time of the war, Why the hell couldn't we fucking finish the war exactly? Because they're all in cahoots with each other to include our American government and military, right? So and it's all part of a one world government kind of initiative. And this is kind of this might be conspiracy, or some people might call it conspiracy, but I think this is true. I think this is 100% true. And I think it is a directed effort to suppress Second Amendment, because no other country has a Second Amendment like we do. No other country. I looked up the statistics, right? The closest country I believe is I think it's Switzerland, right? And even that, right, is still not a Second Amendment. It's still not what we have, what we believe here in America. And that's what makes America so unique. And that's what makes people want to come to this country, is our uniqueness to freedom, right? So let's see here. They're voting for it with feelings. Yep, 100%. So, uh, yes, they're voting for, with feelings. So when I went to testify, I noticed that most of the people, the vast majority of the people in support of SB3 were female or they were youngsters. Those two, female and youngsters. Now, nothing against females. You know, women are from, what is it? What is the book? The women are from Mars, and or no, women are from Venus and men are from Mars, or something like that. It's 100% true that there's difference between men and women. Women tend to think with feelings, and men tend to think with logic, right? Typically, right? So most of the supporters of this bill were women. There was a few men in there, soy boys is what we call them, but and then there were youngsters that were younger than 18 years old, and it's hard to believe that a 16-year-old who was testifying, who had his hair all wild, couldn't brush his hair in the morning to look presentable. And these asshats, these Democrat asshats, are actually going to listen to the 16-year-old who can't even get his shit straight to go look presentable in front of a body, a government body, or in front of anyone for that matter. It's pretty ridiculous. Um, but again, we're talking about this extreme left kind of thing going on, right? All right, voting for feelings. Do you want to be? Do you want this to be simple? I can give you something to plan. That you can do to stop. Okay, yeah. I mean, send it to me. Like, send it to me, Dave at AAAcoach.com. Um, Soros. Yeah, probably, probably. It's pretty wild, but all right, I think that's the end of this live session. I really appreciate you guys with your comments. Hugo Stiglitz and is it Mato? Is that how you pronounce that? Mato? Is that like a long A? You guys are the best. And Kelly, thank you for your comment. Taylor, thank you for your comments. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to do this YouTube thing, trying to try to spread the word, one, of the anti 2A legislation, and then two, I want to obviously promote my business because I provide, I think I provide great and wonderful firearms training. I like the personable experience I have with each and one of my customers. Kelly, for example, came to the range and had a one-on-one session with me, basically, for Colorado concealed carry. Um, and I love that interaction with my customers. If you go to other big box stores, let's say, you know, I, I'm not even going to mention any, but you know what I'm talking about. They're just looking to get number of people because it's money in their pocket. And I'm not doing this for money. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to be able to live off of training people, but I obviously cannot live off of just training people. I don't have the I don't have the promotional value, let's say, to do that. Um, and besides, I'm not going to rip anybody off, right? So I want to promote my business. I want to promote who I am and what this business is about, and I want to inform people of the little bit of knowledge that I have. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You guys stay tuned, like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the things that you're supposed to do for the YouTube stuff. You can also follow me on Instagram and also on Facebook, right? So look up my Facebook is later dude. Look up my Facebook is A Coach LLC. Look at that. Subscribe to that thing too as well. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. Peace. Now how the hell turn that thing off? Oh, there it is. And